Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver is more than a story about urban decay and loneliness. It is an existential study of revolt. Travis Bickle, a disillusioned Vietnam veteran adrift in the sleepless chaos of New York City, becomes both the observer and the product of the city's moral corruption. His disgust with what he calls the filth of the streets propels him from alienation toward violence in a trajectory that mirrors Albert Camus' reflection on rebellion and the absurd. Careful, spoilers ahead. Travis' attitude personifies what Camus defines as revolt. For Camus, revolt begins when an individual, faced with the absurdity of existence, declares that certain limits cannot be crossed. There is a recognition of human limits and a refusal to accept injustice. Travis embodies this idea. His revulsion towards society's moral decay, its violence, perversion, and exploitation, drives him to act according to his own self-fashioned sense of right and wrong. Like Camus' rebel, he draws a moral boundary. Up to this point, yes, beyond it, no. His rebellion is not political, but deeply personal, a solitary protest against what he perceives as the degradation of human existence. His attempts to save Iris, a 12-year-old prostitute, illustrate this inward existential impulse to resist what he deems intolerable, a symbolic but desperate effort to reclaim innocence in a corrupt world. But as Camus warns, revolt without universal values easily slips into nihilism. Though rooted in a desire for justice, revolt that loses sight of solidarity risks turning destructive, becoming the very force he opposes. Travis' crusade is precisely that, a revolt born from disbelief. Confronted with the meaninglessness of his existence, he creates his own private truth, one that divides the world between the pure and the corrupt. He justifies his violence as a means to cleanse society, echoing Camus' observation that the nihilistic rebel creates a justice of his own even at the price of crime. In trying to eradicate evil, Travis reproduces it, his moral purity expressed through bloodshed. The classic mirror scene captures this collapse perfectly. In confronting the city's depravity, he confronts only himself. Travis thus becomes what Betsy calls a walking contradiction. His revolt springs from a fundamentally human impulse to resist injustice, yet it is tainted by prejudice, psychopathy, and moral absolutism. Scorsese crafts him not as a villain but as a mirror, reflecting the contradictions of a society that breeds alienation and then sanctifies violence as redemption. Scorsese's prowess lies in eliciting empathy for such a conflicted character, one whose noble intentions are undermined by destructive means. This duality is the film's unsettling brilliance. It implicates us in Travis's moral confusion. Camus reminds us that genuine rebellion must affirm the dignity of all, or else it evolves into another form of oppression. Through De Niro's haunting performance and Scorsese's expressionistic vision, bathed in red neon and rain-slicked despair, the film becomes both psychological study and moral allegory. We recognize in Travis the universal desire to rebel against a world that seems unjust and meaningless. But we also witness the peril of revolt unanchored by empathy. From a Camusian perspective, Taxi Driver becomes a meditation on revolt's fragile balance between resistance and destruction. Travis's desire to stand up against a degraded world is deeply human, but his revolt is tainted by the arrogance of a person who believes his truth stands above all others, a cry for meaning that collapses into bloodshed. As Camus reminds us, true revolt is an act of solidarity. It affirms life, refusing both submission and murder. It is necessary to revolt and say with Travis, here is someone who stood up. But may this revolt not be stained by the drops of another man's blood, like those falling from Travis's finger. Thank you for watching this video. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you want to keep track of other videos. Don't hesitate to leave a comment or to contact me if you want to know more. See you next time!